Oh, good afternoon. I just got this lamp off the form, and I would have filmed that, but that was like wrestling a cub bear, and I wasn't exactly sure exactly how I wanted to do it. So I put these three blocks, these styrofoam blocks, up on this work table right here, and then set the lamp, and it was in that. We're over here. It was in that. There's the form. And of course it was attached to the form because the form is waxed and the wax had solidified, hardened, and that's what was holding all the pieces on until I got it all soldered and finished up on the outside. Anyway, you've got to get it released from that mold. And so there's different ways of doing it. People generally put a couple of light bulbs up in the bottom of the mold and heat it up over a period of time, and then it gets warm enough that the lamp will come off the mold. So I decided to do it a different way. And in fact, I've got these, we call them, in the electrical industry, they call these tie wraps. Anyway, I've got a pair of tie wraps on both sides so I can lift the lamp up from the outside. I put the tie wraps in there, and then I set the whole thing, mold and all, across this cavity like this. And then I took this high-powered heat gun and ran that heat gun up in there for about 15 minutes is all it took. It heated it up enough that I just pulled the whole thing off the table and held those two straps right there. Of course, I was holding it from the outside of the lamp, and the mold just slipped off. And then I turned the lamp upside down and put it up here. It's a little early to figure out what the colors look like. Maybe a little bit. You see a little light here and there through there. I've still got now to solder this whole inside. The outside has been soldered, and I've gone over it 2 or 3 different times. I'll go over it some more. I pretty much got everything done the way I want it to look. It needs to be cleaned up. There's a lot of wax on it that has got to be removed, and then I'll go after the soldering on the inside, and there's a few pieces of glass that need to be installed. There's one there. That were so hard to get to from the outside. So I've got a few pieces of glass to install here and there. Then we also have to run that wire. There's a wire. You probably get into an area like this. There's a wire, 5 wires that have to run along the design all the way back up to the crown, and that gives the lamp more strength. I did add the wire. I've got the wire added all the way around. Geez, that took me about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours. That was no fun, getting that wire around all these irregular shapes here. That was a real hassle, but you know, I've done it before, had to do it. So anyway, it looks pretty good on the inside. I don't see any major problems inside of the crown. So what I'll do is clean it up and let you look at it this way a little bit. There it is. Anyway, I've got to clean it up, and then I'll go after the soldering on the inside, and then it should be real strong, the solder and the support wire. And I did read in Gail Obler's article on she's built a lot of these lamps, this particular one, that she ran I'm going to read it again to make sure, but she ran another wire horizontally across this thing. I'm going to assume about 4 or 5 inches up into it, which would really make it bulletproof. So I've got to decide if I can. I don't know why I couldn't do that. Anyway, run another wire all the way around the inside of it, just make it stronger. It's pretty strong right now, since it's only been soldered on one side. I surely wouldn't want to put it under any stress or drop it. Oh gosh, I could fix it, but if we had an incident like that where you dropped it, it would break out a section of this. A bunch of the glass would be, broken, and then you would have to come back in and remove all those pieces, cut other pieces to go into that spot and start over, fixing it up. So I certainly, that would be a worst case scenario there. It's pretty easy to see right down in there. There, let me get my hand in. I've got my hand in the way. Anyway, way down right there, there's a piece of glass that's going to sit right in that cavity there. I think that's number 22. Yeah, I've got them all set up to go 22. So I don't have a whole lot to add to this. It was I was trying to get it off the form a different way. If that didn't work, then we'd have gone to the light bulb thing and wait on that. But maybe 15 minutes is all it took for that to hot gun. And I sealed that up when I had a piece of cardboard across here with the lamp setting on there so that I didn't lose any of that heat. And I more or less made a small hole up on this end of the lamp for the heat to be directed into, and then it couldn't get out because the top of the mold, you can see that top of the mold doesn't have any exhaust, so all that heat stayed trapped in there. It only took about 10 minutes for it to start to melt the wax, and then 5 more minutes and it was ready to come off. So that was a lot less trouble than I thought I was going to have. And then putting the tie wraps on the outside to be able to handle them. Now I can turn the mold over now, turn the lamp over now and lift it because I've got those 2 straps on the top there, and move it around, do whatever I need to do to it. So what's going to happen next is, like I said, I'm going to clean it up, and then we'll start the interior soldering. I don't know, that's going to take several days. And then we'll be getting close to figuring out how we want to do the patina. Got to come back in here and solder up all the lead joints back to, there's the lead joints from the branches. You can see the branches here. There. So I'm going to solder those back to the crown, and it'll all look real nice and neat out there. So there it is. You can see, and see, now you get an appreciation for how irregular the edge of that thing is. That's a chore to get around that with a piece of wire, but everybody that builds these lamps does it with a wire. You have to do it. It makes the lamp nice and strong out here in this perimeter. Okay, if you have questions, be sure and ask me. Man, what a chore it's been. I'm down here on the end of this thing. I'm thinking, I don't know, a couple of weeks on the outside, which is a pretty good feeling since I've been on it since February 1st. But it is I wish I had a way to, let's do this. I don't want to run all around here and waste your time. Let me turn that light on. This is not going to be, I could put a light bulb in it, but it's not clean, so I don't want to fool with that. And let me turn this big light off. This might not work. I was just trying to see if we could catch a little. Not going to catch much, are we? You know, you can't really tell too much about it. However, that does have a nice look. Now, of course, it's upside down, but it does have a pretty nice look. Boy, that's got a lot of potential when you get on the base with the right light bulbs, really being something to see. Look at that. And that's just with some, you know, less than desirable light off this other fixture above it. Just a little bit of ghost light, if you will, yellow light, and it looks that good. So I can't imagine what it's going to look like finished and on the you know, correct base. Well, anyway, why don't I just check out right now and keep going. I'm going to get it clean, and then, man, you know, I'm sure somebody finds something wrong with it, but I love the solder work I did on that. And I'm telling you, there's certainly some skill involved in the solder work, but I'm telling anybody that would listen to me that, what did I do with it? Oh, it's over here. Yeah, man, this thing here is the bomb. And FX601, they should send me one of these free for all the press I've given this thing. And here's the key. That little, get down where you can see it, that little 1/8 of an inch tip, that's the smallest soldering tip I've ever used on any stained glass work I've ever done. And we're getting close to 50 years. And I would not have thought that would work. I wouldn't think that it had enough heat, and I wouldn't think that as fast as I can solder that I would have outrun the iron. In other words, the iron would not have been able to keep up with me. And that's got some electronic temperature controls in it, solid state. Of course, we've been saying solid state for 50 years. But solid state electronics in it that really keep it right on the money when it comes to the temperature you're looking for. And so consequently, if, like anything, and this is a tip for people that are getting into this business a little bit, when you hit the wall on soldering here or on lead, a lot of the times you're hitting the wall because the temperatures just aren't right. And I don't really pay any attention to what the number of the temperature is. It's all about the feel. You take somebody that's a real good welder, they don't, half the time they just go over and crank the welder wherever they want it because they know what temperature it takes to get done what they are going to do. So about 75% of the good looking solder here, and I know it looks good. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying I know it looks good. 75% of that's not on me. It's this fantastic iron, because if I had done this with what I normally do these lamps and or windows with, I would not have had that result, because the temperature control on that iron and that small tip allows you just to be a surgeon when it comes to putting. The key to these solder joints is the width you can't control, because the width is going to be controlled by where your copper foil is, but you certainly can control the height of that bead. And a uniform height bead all the way across a window that's been properly cut and properly foiled means you get a really good looking job. And so I would not have this result without that Hakko, I'm going to probably mispronounce it, Hakko, FX601. That thing changed my life. And I'm up here soldering on this heavier. This was casting, a lead casting right here, right there. And it was copper plated. And then you just come in and put some flux on it, tin it. And by tinning it, we mean put foil or solder over it, so that when this thing patinas, all of it patinas the same. Anyway, oh man, I'm proud of this thing. Now all I have to do is get it done over the next couple of weeks, and I've got a real, I never use the word masterpiece. I don't know. That's not my purview to, is that the right word? To to make that pronouncement. But it's a good lamp. It's a nice lamp. I think it's a kind of an A, maybe. Yeah, I think it would be an A. If it was anything off an A, it'd be an A minus. But I believe it's an A, and at least I think it is. And I'm usually pretty hard on myself, so I like it. Man, I'm happy with it. Wow, look at the inside of that thing. That's a lot of soldering yet to go, but the soldering is fun, and particularly with this good iron, it makes it so much easier. And you just put the solder where you want it. It's amazing. All right. Anyway, thanks for the attention, and we're rolling along. I apologize for not filming this whole thing, but I don't have a camera that's set up to show a larger area. And since I was reinventing the wheel about 3/4 of the way through all of the process of getting this off the mold, it's like you don't want to watch them make hot dogs. I was struggling a couple of times. I thought, oh man, I can't have this, can't have that. I had the lamp on the table here one time, and it rolled over to this other side, which that's the first time I'd done that. And I thought, oh man, don't do that. I can't take any damage on this thing. So I'm starting to think right now that I thought this was a 400 or 450 hour lamp. And I don't know. Maybe there are those that are experienced enough to get this thing done in 300 hours, I guess. But I swear I've got 600 hours in this thing. But I'm happy with it because I spent all the time and effort to make it to the best of my ability. And that's all anybody can ask of you. Well, anyway, thank you. We'll come back with some more on this lamp here. When I get it cleaned up, get it turned over, and start soldering it, I'll come back and show you how I'm soldering the inside of it. Okay, bye now.